Hi. So, first of all, thanks everyone for coming. And wow, this is so big. This is way bigger than I expected. Okay, so today I'll be talking about like my career, my path, my ups and downs, more downs than ups. And I hope you guys enjoy. It'll be my idea is to be like 100% honest with you guys, like no filter, no like politics. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Oops, I need to turn this thing on. Okay. So I will talk about like how I started on this CG industry. It was like a total accident. My original idea is to be like a history teacher. I never wanted to work with CG art and that kind of stuff. I just wanted to be a history teacher. So I went in Brazil. I have to apply to school. I have to do a test. I totally fail on the test. So I need to raise money for college. I got this at the time. Finding a job with like 3D was way easier than today. I remember that on my interview, the guy didn't even ask me for a portfolio. He asked like, "Oh, so you know 3D?" I said, "Yeah, totally. Yeah, super." And he was like, "Okay, so you can start tomorrow?" I said, "Oh, can I have like a week to like close a few like open not on like old work and things like that?" Yeah, sure. I asked this work actually to learn 3D because I didn't know like anything at all. So I done like a bunch of tutorials and started like studying. And one weekend, okay, I'm ready to start that. And my goal was like only raising money for college. And I stayed there for like 3 years. Started kind of enjoying what I was doing. And after that, I started like to see at the time like archivism in Brazil was kind of like too how can I say that? Not that wide for new perspectives and are like your artistical creativity. Today, like they have like those gorgeous, like super realistic and beautiful lighting stuff. But at the time, it was like, oh, this wall is like it's a yellow wall. It needs to be a yellow. Even like if you have like a green like grass with the light bouncing, whatever, it needs to be yellow. So it was kind of boring, and I was kind of like get more into art. So after 3 years, I decided to quit from my job and try something new. I went for advertising. It was super cool, like super intimidating because advertising. At the time, I thought it was like some kind of like super genius CG artist. Ego, it's a tricky thing. I thought it was like super genius. And when my first day on the advertising, I was like, okay, I don't know anything that I'm doing. I'm a total failure. And my boss said, okay, chill. You can like stay here, see if you like it, what you're doing. I will teach you the way. I was like, okay, he was like my first like perfect like teacher that I had for CG, my first mentor, I can say that. At the same time, I started to get like involved with characters. Like I forgot to say that I'm a huge nerd. Like I grew up like reading comics, playing video games, getting beaten at the school because of that. Then you bullies. I grew up like with that kind of like pop culture, like before it was pop, it was like only like nerdy stuff. And so I started to do like characters with things that I like it because I spent at the time like 10 hours working, and the only spare time that I had, I was going to be doing something else. So okay, let's spend that time doing something that you like it, like looking at something that you like it. For me, it was comics. And then I started like doing some like those Marvel was like my main influence because I read like my first comic that I read in my life was X-Men. Was like the first edition of the Age of Apocalypse. Really awesome stuff. And so X-Men was like my first like influence for art and things that I like it. So I started doing like those characters and those personal works based on like on this kind of theme. And I started getting like some really nice feedback. Oh, just fun fact: my first character was like a robot panda made only of like booleans and like FFD modifiers. And I got one comment on CG Society. It was, "You should stop." I was like, oh, thank you for kindness. And anyway, I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong, random person. And I kept studying and kept publishing my personal stuff. And people started like to ask me to, oh, we have this job. We would like you to. Can you like? Do you have time to do it on your style? We can pay you. And I was like, whoa, now I have a style. Okay. And they want to pay me for that. That's perfect. And so I started doing freelance illustration and characters. And there's more after that, but at first I would do a quick break and talk about freelance fun arts, which like why. Oh no, I totally misguided. It's what tools do I use actually first? Okay, so my main tools are this one. I use 3ds. Oh, I forgot to put Photoshop. No, I didn't. I use 3ds, so 3ds Max, ZBrush, V-Ray, Corona. Well, about V-Ray and Corona, I like to play with both because they are super fun to use. And some work I like to do. I like to learn things with V-Ray. I like to learn things with Corona. It's fun because they're like super similar but super different in some aspects, and you're always learning. And I also use a lot of Substance Painter to do paint my stuff. But actually, I use a lot of softwares. I use way more than that, to be honest. But I like to play around with software because, like I said, you can always learn something new if you're not afraid to like explore a new software. It's cool like to have your favorite softwares, like the tools that you would like to use because you feel more comfortable. But don't be that kind of guy who says, "Oh, V-Ray is so much better than Corona," or the opposite. Dude, you can stick with your favorite. But be open-minded to learn new things. It like adds a lot. It adds a lot. But the main tool that I use is that one. Google is like the word like on your screen. Some people like instead of like asking, I have a thing that say I believe that if you didn't find the answer in Google, it's because you're not doing the right like question. So every time, like there's a lot of documentation online. Every software, like the help files today, they are super complete. There are a lot of stuff. So use Google. It's the best tool ever for the good and the bad. Also, references. How many of you like have had played Duke Nukem 3D? You remember the old one, like first-person shooter? Only one person that could be. Duke Nukem 3D? Yeah, Quake 1. Okay, Street Fighter 2. Okay, cool. One thing that I can totally sure I can guarantee you guys, the memory that you have about the game is way better than the game actually is. It looks way worse if you take a look at today. So don't trust your mind. Like it says on the good things, on the good memories. So every time, if you're doing like I don't know, like a T-shirt, a cotton material, a skin, an arm, muscles, use reference. Even if you're like, no, I'm super used to that. How can I forget how a T-shirt looks like? You will forget like some details. So every time, stick to references. Stick to it, please. And now I will talk about like the fan art. Why fan art? That's the first thing that I already answered actually. It's because it's what I like it. Usually like we spend a lot of time working on things that we don't like, and you don't want like to study something that you're not comfortable with. So for me, fan arts, the main reason it's because I like the subject, what I'm doing, but it can be tricky because at some time fun arts have like this thing that sometimes you can be like you post something and people we call that the fan base. You guys know that the fan base of fun arts. Like the great example is the princesses as problem. For example, every guys like see on a lot of websites like princesses as cowboys, Disney princesses as cowboys, Disney princesses as hot dog. I saw that once. Disney princesses as hot dogs, and it is fun. You're gonna get you're probably gonna get viral if you do like Disney princess as I don't know corn, and it's it's fine. You're gonna go viral. You're gonna get a lot of likes, but like the people who are gonna pay for your work, they're gonna pay because it's fun. They're gonna pay because it's good, and there's a huge difference. And like you do something because it's viral, and you do something because it looks good. At the end of the day, the fun art is just for me just a way to it's just a theme to like explore my work, to improve myself as an artist. You know, so don't take the freelance. I don't recommend that. You can do if you want it, but if you want like to be an artist and like promote your work like for clients, have the freelance thing as a consequence, not like the main reason. I want to do that because I want to get famous. Dude, if you want to get famous, go be an actor. You know, no one remembers the name of the like the CG stuff person. Uh, and about the like this is like the third thing, the don't believe the hype. I remember last year when the Avengers Infinity War came out and like ArtStation was like Thanos station. We have like only Thanos, or like a lot of Thanos like on ArtStation. See that when you have like so many like characters like looking like the same, and the actual like reference is like the original Thanos from Digital Domain, your work's not gonna be like that relevant. You know, it's fun, but another thing, when you do for the hype, you need to rush because you don't want to lose the timing. Like for example, the movie came out. The movie will be out for I don't know, like 2 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks in theaters. So you have like this like deadline to do your work, and you're gonna rush it because you're gonna post it like when the hype is really high. So don't go for the hype, please. Again, do because you like it, not because people like. For example, this one, it's like from a Brazilian cartoon show called Jodel's Brother. It's really fun, but it's really local thing. And I didn't do it because I want to like go viral, because I love this cartoon and I want like to like, study things like environment lighting and hair and like play with more like some crazy proportions. So this is why my goal to study that things and to do so and pay like a tribute to a cartoon that I like it. Not because it's super famous right now. It isn't. It is in Brazil actually. And one quick tip for fun arts: cosplayers. Cosplayers are the original fun artists. You know, they like when someone do a cosplay, they have to research for fabric, for proportions, for how the costume will work, like so they can move. You know, there's a lot of research. So if you want to go for fun arts, respect the cosplayers. They are like the best person in the world for that. And they usually like really nice person, like actually. So when I said like I explained about my path, I was talking about freelancing, and that's what happened. I after work 6 years for advertising and art vis industries, I decided to go freelance. It is. I'm still freelancing today, so I would talk about like things that I learned. First, the cool things that are in being a freelance. Dude, you like no one owns you except for the client. But but except for that, no one owns you. You know, you're your own boss. If you want to like invest your money on like equipment, you can. If you want to like not make like a lot of money, but have like quality of life quality. You know, you do that. If you don't want to work with that client anymore, you do that. You're on boss. It's a sunny Wednesday and you want to like go take an ice cream. You can, since you're your own boss, you can manage your own time. So you can go like Wednesday afternoon, take a like an ice cream, drink a beer, chill out. It's amazing. And you have no routine. You know, today you'll be working for like client A, tomorrow you'll be working for client B, and you learn like a lot of new things because each company has like his own pipeline, his own workflow. So it's really awesome. But like everything in life, you have cons. First, you're your own boss. No one will save your ass when a client comes like with like pitching forks on you. You know, if you get sick, no one will cover for you. It's you and you alone. See, that's the first problem. Second problem. Remember the ice cream on Wednesday? It became like working at midnight crying alone. So flexible work it's a tempting thing because you can be like really awesome that you can do anything you want, but at some point you're gonna have to like work that time out. Like you can make like 8 hours of work become 4 hours because you were like having fun. You're gonna have to work 8 hours, maybe like until 4 a.m. because you are taking ice cream. And remember the client A and client B. Sometimes there's like no client at all. Sometimes they have no clients. Sometimes like the client doesn't pay in time. Sometimes the bank like holds the money. There's a lot. You have like you don't know what's gonna happen. It's crazy. It's like zero routine. Being freelance is tricky, but for me, by the end of the day, it's really fun. If you like to live like with adrenaline, but it's cool. After working for some clients, the clients were like one client started like to indicate another client, and which indicate to another one. And I started to work for bigger clients. For example, my first big client was like, wow, that's so cool, was Blur. I worked on Skylanders. It was like a really nice gig. It was like for me it was a huge landmark on my career because I never thought that would be like a right thing to become a freelance, and seeing like the clients get bigger and bigger was super fun. And in the meantime, I got this like Facebook chat. A guy came to me like, "Oh, I'm starting this event in Portugal. I'm gonna get a couple, like a bunch of artists. Do you want to join in?" Like, yeah, totally. And this event was THU, Trojan Horse was a unicorn. I went to three editions of THU. I think it's important to mention THU for me because on the first edition I worked for a company, and the first year I went there as like as employee. And when I came there, when I got there, I had like this mind blow. Just kind of here, for example, you met people from all around the world, artists from like every type of industry, and like anyway, you've met people from like everywhere that know a lot of stuff. You learn a lot. And for me, the first edition was like an open mind because of that. The second edition for me was important because I went as a freelance, so I worked my confidence. Was the first time that I would do like a talk with people like just me, like as Victor Hugo, this guy who does like nerdy stuff and people kind of like it. And on the third edition was kind of funny because it started the recruitment sessions. So companies like Blizzard, Riot, and Disney was there doing recruitment sessions. And I always like to help THU, so I was working like making people chill at the line. People are like super nervous, just like I am right now. And they're like super nervous because I'm gonna talk to a lot of important people. And I was like on the line, like, dude, chill, let talks about life, where you're from, and things like that, to make people be more relaxed during like the interview. And at some points, like there was no one in line. It was, well, okay. Hi, I'm Victor. So I went to the recruitment sessions, but my main focus, I was so happy with my freelance career that I wasn't looking for a job, actually. I just wanted like some professional feedback about my work. So I went to Riot, and I sit down on the couch. It's like, hey, why wouldn't you hire me? But the guy was like, what? Yeah, I don't want to work for you. I just want to know why you won't hire me. And he looked at my portfolio. He's like, oh, your work's good. But your work is not what we're looking for. I know that you can do what we're looking for, but you didn't show me. I won't like pay a visa for you. I won't invest in a visa for you if like you're just a bet. You're not like 100% like certain that you can do what we do. For example, my portfolio is like fully like cartoony stuff. Even if I do for realistic shading and lighting, most of my portfolio is cartoon stuff, and Riot is more like realistic stuff. So if you don't show what the company wanted, they don't know that you can do it. It's kind of obvious, but we never kind of think about it. And for Disney, I was kind of funny because I made the same question, and the guy was like, "Oh, your portfolio is good, fit us. If you want to apply someday, go for look dev and lighting. It's the thing that because we have like modelers for 10 years now. They won't leave anytime soon." And like, "Oh, cool." And meanwhile, my wife, like, she wasn't at the event. I was bringing my because I'm afraid of fly. I'm afraid of flying. So she was there to talk to people, and she met this woman called Dawn Yamazi, and we were having lunch, having a good time. And hey, Dawn, what do you do for a living? And, oh, I'm a recruiter at Disney. And what about you? Oh, I'm an artist. And she, can I see your portfolio? It was sure. I showed my reel with like more like my demo reel with like animation for big clients like Blur and all stuff. Like, okay, this is like my best move, like my best card. She saw my reel and she was like, and oh boy, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I have like this self-esteem issue, and I was totally devastated at the time. But she also asked, okay, do you have like any personal stuff, like personal works that we can that I can see? And I was, oh, I have, but it's only like stills. I don't do animation on personal work. And anyway, let me see it. And she saw it, and she's like, oh, now we were talking. And she said to me that companies like Disney, according to her, I didn't talk to every company, they want to see how can like add knowledge, add like creative power to the company, not how can you follow like rules, follow like orders. You know, they don't want to like they want someone that can know how to like work like on the hierarchy, but they want people who can like add talent to their company. So that was like, wow, mind blowing. And after that, she said to me, okay, if you want to like try Disney, go like do pack up your work, and send me your reel, and we can review and send to the recruiter, like the proper recruiter for Look Dev. It's like, okay, sure. I totally forgot about it because Visa, usually like when I try some new stuff, I have problems with Visa, and anyway, I was like, well, whatever, let's keep freelancing. And a couple of weeks later, someone from Disney came to me by maybe, hey, your people, your work's like going around here at the studio. Some of the supervisors look at it and they want to talk to you. As wow, okay, I can talk to you guys. I made it 3 interviews for Disney. The first one was like with the recruiter to see if I'm not like some kind of crazy person. The second one was with the technical team to talk about like which programs that I know. It was fun because they asked me first, "Oh, do you know Maya?" I said, "Nope." "Oh, do you know Linux?" Never use it. And do you know procedural text? I was like, "Yeah." Now we're talking. Now we're talking. I know that. And they asked me, "Okay, so what do you hate the most about like CG?" I said, "UVs for sure. I hate like UVs." And oh, that's good. We don't have UVs at Disney. Like, really? So I think I'm the perfect guy for the job. And they actually bought it. So 3 months later, I was at Disney. I was working, I was hired to work at Moana. Here I am. Super excited, super naive. And there's like Walt Disney and Mickey at my side. This was my first day at Disney. I joined the production. I went there in January, and in late February, I joined production. I worked on Moana. We almost got the Oscar, but Zootopia was better. And I worked there for as environment artist, most like for Look Dev. So I want to talk about some cool things that happened at Disney. First, they have like, dude, I never seen such a mind-blowing structure. Like, it's crazy how prepared they are for anything. On my first day, when I like learning the tools and the pipeline, my mentor said to me, "Okay, so if you have any problem, just open the shell and type problem. Someone came to help you." Like, this is a day one prank, right? No way we do that. It's not a test. And I type problem like 5 minutes at most. Someone, "Hey, how can I help you? You have any problem with computer?" Like, no way. This is like a super elaborate prank that can be, but it is. For example, if your file crash, you just type problem. You will open like a log already like containing the link for the last file that crashed. It's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. Since they have like such a nice and crafted like tools, and you have to only want to worry about art over there. So when you don't have to worry about the tool that you were working, you can focus on your art. That's a good thing about being familiar with a software. For example, I'm super familiar with 2ds Max. I don't have to think when I use shortcuts, so I just like use it. So my mind is like 100% focused on my art, my crafting. So they have like that for everything. It's amazing. Free pass for all the parks. Every single park. You can do U and plus 4 for free. And 30% discount on every store. This is amazing. For like during this year, my whole like closet was full of like of Disney like clothing because they are so cheap. And it was a dream come true at the time, you know. When you start like working with characters and animation and all the kind of like cartoony stuff, Disney and Pixar are like the main reference for you, like the main reference. You want to go there, you want to learn, you want to be part of it. So it was like for my career, for me, it's like, okay, I did it. I'm here. I finally did it. But things are not only like happiness. As a freelance, remember the flexible timing? I used to work like 10 hours per day at most, 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours at most, like one day a week. During crunch time, that during like 6 months, during my one production, I used to work 68 to 7 hours a week. It's 12 hours a day plus Saturday. So it was a lot. It was a lot of time working. And like English is not my mother language, so I spend a lot of time speaking English. And so by the end of the day, I was like stressed with the work, stressed with the language, and stressed with some. Oh God, what I did. What I just did. Oh, thank you. These boots are so close. This is dangerous. So the another thing, since I was in the training program, yes, I wanted the training program. Even like working like full production, working like some huge environments, solving problem solving. Solving problems. They had like this like trimester evaluation. So every 3 months they make a reunion with you, and they actually said, okay, you're doing good. You can stay for more 3 months, or oh, you're not doing great. You're going back home. And when I say going back home, this is like literal because my work visa was attached to Disney. So if I lost my job, I had 30 days to go back home. You know, like the MasterChef, like TV show. Was totally the feeling, like, oh, someone's going home today. That's the worst. I was working so hard that I went to Disneyland just twice in a year because I had too much work to do, and I was like stressed, tired, super afraid of the MasterChef thing. And I think by the end of my experience at Disney, I was feeling like in headway, you know. That was basically how I was when I left Disney. I love this thing. Anyway, so I had like this. I had a dream my life would be so much different than how I was living, and I went back to Brazil. So for Disney, they had like this huge problem with one of their movies called Gigantic, and because of that, they had to let some people go. So the new people went back home, and I was one of those new people. And so imagine like you have like this life dream, like the thing that keeps you pushing, like to be better, like this goal, and you reach it, and at some point like it's not what you expected. You're totally like destroyed, and they also like let you go. You know, like, what do I do from here? Where do I go? What can I do? And the first thing that came to my mind, I was like blaming myself. I was like, okay, this was my fault. That's why I failed on keep my work over there. Even though I was like super happy with it, I kind of wanted to stay because for me it was like the goal. I was kind of like lying to myself because it's like everybody's doing, and I just let it go. So let it go. So I felt really, really, really lost about what should I do next. You know what in the most like the bottom of like the situation, I consider like stopping doing 3D. Like, why? Why should I do? Because I failed so hard. That was what I thought. And after like speaking to my wife, to my friends, and seeing my old stuff, it's like, wait, actually I was happier before that. So why I'm treating this like the end of my journey? And okay, so this is my journey. This is like just a part of it. I can continue from where I stopped it. So that's what I did. I decided to go back to personal stuff. I decided to go back like doing like freelance projects. And the first thing that I did, one of my friends at Disney, I made we all the like the new people, we became friends, and we started like talking with each other. The other one, there's this girl from Russia, Elena Volk. She came to me and said, "Okay, I have with me and my friend Vitaly Kochenko, I think. We are doing like this short movie, and we need a modeler for the characters. Do you want to help?" Like, yeah, sure, why not? It will keep me motivated. So I did those characters, and she never talked to me again. It was super awkward. I will get to that later. And I went back to doing my fun arts. I remember I did like Gambit, like portrait. It was super fun to do because, anyway, I love X-Men. And I did a Storm with a show yesterday in the masterclass. I will show you here later. And one day I was like playing Overwatch with my wife. I did Alt Tab to see like new messages. And I got this email like, "Hello from Marvel." Like, oh, it's comic book stuff. They don't sell me more comic book. And he's like, "Hello, Victor Hugo. We like your work." I was like, whoa, this is not comic stuff. And actually, they saw my fun arts, like, and they said, "Okay, we really like it, like your style, and how do you know what you're doing? Like the knowledge that you're putting, like on the details for all the characters, and you know the characters, so we see your passion through your work." And we don't have that experience, but they want to try something new with you. So we wanted to do like 5 connecting covers. That's super easy to start, right? And each cover with like 2 characters, so we have like 10 characters. We have 2.5 months to do it. And I was doing some THU stuff, some like video, like rendering a 1-minute video all by myself for THU at the same time. And we don't have any idea how to work with you. Like, we don't know how to work with feedback. Do you do a sketch before? We don't know. We just do want to do something. And that cover was Phoenix Resurrection. Was Jean Grey was going back to life, and they wanted like to do this tribute to her, like about all her history or her story from the new Jean, the classic X-Men, the 80s one, the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. And I was like, okay, sure, yeah. Do you want like to copy like the style that you guys use the cover? No, we want your style. You have the total freedom to do it. I was like, oh my God, I'm not used to work with that kind of freedom, but let's do it. So I will be a little technical on this part. The first thing that I did was I need to break down the image. For example, I have like 10 characters, but from those 10 characters, 5 are pretty much the same, are Jean Grey. So, okay, let's do one Jean and replicate like all the styles. And I did a quick rig to that to speed that up so I can post then. And after that, Marvel was asking for a sketch. I don't draw. I totally fail when it comes to drawing. I don't know how to do that. I did the basics, but not good enough for like a Marvel like sketch preview. So I did this. A really like rough sketch, like with the models posed and Photoshop with like really bad drawing to complete this stuff. So just so you can have an idea of what I'm planning to do. And they like, well, great, go for it. Why, what? No, go for it. Okay. You won't regret, or maybe you do. So the first thing that I did, I need to be like really like optimized workflow and pipeline to do that because there's so many work to do. So I try to do things more procedurally that I could, For example, I use Substance Painter to paint my textures. The way that I use is pretty similar to Disney Paint 3D method. 5? Already? Okay, I'm almost there. So I made like things procedurally the most as I can and non-destructive, so to keep like really easygoing. It paid. This is like the lighting setup. I first made like the first thing that I made was like have like the overall lighting, and then I separate for each cover a single image. So and on Photoshop I comp them all together. Something like this. This is like all the covers comp together. After that, I put the background. The background is based on the X-Men movies, Danger Room. So I put them together, did some like VFX stuff, mostly in 2D. They're mostly like 2D. The fire, it's a mix between Phoenix FD and photo bashing, and some post-production to give like the perfect mood. After that, they also asked me to, if they want like, if I could, they could buy my Storm image, so could be like an X-Men one cover. It was like, wow, totally. Yeah, so this one became like from the fun art to an official X-Men art. And today I'm working on this War of the Realm covers. It's some kind of crazy thing that are like mixing Asgard with like real Marvel world, and this is why Spider-Man is wearing a shield. And remember that Russian friend that I mentioned? So her project turned out to be this one. Blind Spot for Love, Death, and Robots. It was a really cool, like unexpected experience. I worked on those two characters and also made the base look dev for the show. It was really fun and really like accidental. Okay, so one of the last things that I would like to share with you guys is some thoughts that I learned through all this travel, this journey. First thing, we are not specials, and I learned that the hard way. You know, like when we work like with art, there's the ego. Ego is like their biggest enemy. So don't think we're like we need to be like special because we create things. We are people who work with the thing that we love, but since like most of the people who works the thing that we love, you know, so chill. You're not that special, and that's perfect because you don't have like to put so much pressure on yourself. Treat every work of you as like your best you can do, not the best of your life. You know, you don't like do your creative thing that you're working. It's not going to be like your Mona Lisa. You know, you always have time to the next one. Might be better, might not, but think that you do like your best to do like the best that you can, but it doesn't need to be like your final piece. It won't happen. Get off the computer, go out, leave, get a life. You know, you don't know. For me, being an artist, it's about like reproducing empathy. You know how people feel, how you feel. So you don't know how a sunset like feels, how good it feels, if you're on the computer. You need to know how it feels. You know, so get out, go, leave. This is the Disney thing. Like being, I thought that my goal was to go to Disney and like be like among them. But for me, my real like feeling of success was to be at home working on different clients that I like it and have time to like enjoy life. So for me, this is like a success. And doing Marvel covers, I love to do that. This is from Bob Ross, and it's really true. Don't be afraid to do mistakes. You know, because as long as you're learning, you're not failing. So today's mistake is tomorrow's success. So keep that in mind. And if you have like something that is not working, throw it away or save it for later. But don't keep trying like too hard. Because if you fail too much times and then keep trying like do the same thing, that's madness. You know. So detachment is gold. Know how to let it go. Let it go. Your projects. This is the final tip. If you do because of love, people will start looking at it. You do like you put a lot of effort. If you put a lot of effort, people start looking at it, and you start spreading it like your work. At some point, someone will find it. You want to pay for it, and it's just like it's a cycle. So if you do because you love, not because you want to be famous or popular, dude, you'll be like, you get whenever you want, but keep the focus on the love. Love what you do. Never forget that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.